Welcome back to another episode of Relationship Advice You Don't Hear in Church. My name's Tiffany and hit subscribe to see more videos like this. And today we are talking about weight loss. Not in the way you think. Recently, I've been sharing how I gained 80 pounds during my second pregnancy and James's reaction to that. And a lot of you have commented how healing that was for you. And one of you asked, could you just tell us how you actually lost 70 of those pounds? Like, what did you do to lose the weight? So I'm going to talk about that today. And why does this matter in a relationship advice channel? Because our relationship with ourselves makes a huge difference in how we can love other people. Jesus said, love your neighbor as yourself. You have to know how to love yourself to really be able to love other people well. So before we get into how I lost the weight, let me just give a little context. If you've been here a while, you know that I struggled with disordered eating when I was in college. I'd had an obsession with calorie counting and wanting to lose weight throughout high school, but it wasn't until I started college and got into this really toxic relationship with a guy who compared me to his ex-girlfriends and cheered every time I lost 1 pound, even though I was at a normal healthy weight. I actually weighed less than I do now when I started dating him. And yet every time I lost a pound, he'd be so excited. He'd tell his parents. And so it just became this obsession, this way for me to try to control the relationship, to control his love so that he wouldn't be checking out all these other girls. I thought if I just get skinny enough, because the girls he checks out are skinny, then he'll love me. And I should have run for my life, because a guy like that you will never be good enough for, and the issue is not with you, it's with him. So I struggled with disordered eating, got too thin. My parents threatened to bring me home from college if I lost any more weight. And eventually I started struggling with binge eating. As I started healing from under eating, I went to the other extreme and started binge eating. And that's very common, is my understanding. And so that I struggled with for several years. And I have a video about what I did practically to break out of that binge cycle. It's linked in the description below. And as I healed from that, I started gaining a lot of confidence in myself and in my body. But of course, our relationship with our body comes in layers. And one of my fears still was that I would get pregnant and gain a ton of weight. And that happened to me. I thought, I'm gonna be careful. I was sick as a dog too, throwing up all the time. So I'm like, I can't even stomach the thought of eating most foods, let alone like gaining weight. And yet I put on 80 pounds in my pregnancy with Eliana and 60 in my pregnancy with Natalie. And the journey to losing it, I'm going to talk about that today, the very practical side. As I look back on that journey where it took me 2 years to lose 70 pounds, in the moment, that experience was so frustrating. I cried a lot. I compared myself to old pictures of me. I was so frustrated. Like, why can't I just lose the weight? Why does nothing I do make any difference? And I just want it to be off. And yet when I look back at that experience, the first thing I feel is not relief that the weight is off. Shocking, I know. The first thing I feel is gratitude. Gratitude for that journey. Gratitude that I lost so much of the weight that matters way more. The emotional baggage weight of thinking I have to be a certain size to be pretty, of thinking I have to fit back into my old jeans again, which I don't, and I probably never will, and thinking that James will only be attracted to me if I'm thin enough and would start checking out other women if I wasn't, like this emotional baggage healed, and I lost some of that weight. And that is the weight that really makes you a healthier person. So now let's get into more of the practical side. I'm going to split this into two sections. Number one, the mental part of it, and number two, the practical physical things that I changed. So part one, the mental side. I had to learn to trust my body. I've practiced intuitive eating ever since I broke out of the binge eating cycle, listening to my body, feeding it nutritious food, but also the food that it's craving when it's craving it, and not feeling like I have to eat it all at once because I can eat what I want to right now, and then I can eat more tomorrow if I want to, just like that intuitive eating piece. I've always eaten that way, including during my 80-pound weight gain and including during my very, very slow weight loss. And I'd always equated intuitive eating with being thin. But I think a better way is to think of intuitive eating as keeping you healthy, as trusting your body to tell you what it needs to stay healthy. I tried dieting, I tried limiting calorie intakes, I tried calorie counting charts that I kept on my phone with every single thing I ate to try and get my calories to a certain amount. And the only difference I saw was being so tired and dizzy that I could not parent my girls well. And so I had to stop. I had to trust my body that it was telling me you need more food right now to keep going. I was also sleeping in 1 to 2 hour increments for most of 2 years because Ellie had a lot of different health issues when she was born, and she was a terrible sleeper. And on top of that, I had postpartum thyroiditis. My thyroid just kept going off. They kept having to readjust meds every few months. And that's so exhausting too. And so I had to trust my body that even though sometimes it felt like it was betraying me because it wasn't losing the weight, it wasn't doing what I wanted it to do, it was keeping me healthy. It helped me remember again that thin does not equal healthy and healthy does not equal thin. The other mental piece was learning to accept the new normal for my body. And as I've lost 70 pounds, I do feel more comfortable in my own body and that it feels more like what I'm used to in my life. For me, different people have different norms for our body, where when we're at a healthy place, that's where our body is. So I feel more comfortable. I feel more like myself in that way. But I don't fit into my old jeans. After I had Natalie, it was like, I gotta fit into these old jeans. I gotta fit into these old jeans. I gotta get back to where I was. And now realizing like, I will never get back to where I was. And to be okay with being several sizes larger than that in pants and still feeling like I like my body. I look in the mirror and I'm like, dang girl. And I bought a whole new wardrobe through secondhand stores. And I like my wardrobe now better than before I had kids. Back then it was like being a certain size, and now it's like clothes that fit me and clothes that flatter me, even though I'm still almost 20 pounds heavier than before I had kids. But it's okay. This is my new normal and I like myself in this normal. And the biggest thing is, this is the healthy normal that gives me the energy to love my kids and to live life well. So I can't push my body and try to starve it and shrink it and stuff it. Instead, what will give me the energy I need for my life right now? Okay, so now the physical things I did. To be honest, the physical tips, I tried a lot of these in the beginning and I could not lose any weight. I just got sick from them. And that's because I wasn't sleeping enough. I remember talking to my doctor, like, I'm so frustrated. I'm trying everything I know to try, and it's always worked for my body before. And she's like, Tiffany, you sleep for 1 to 2 hours at a time. Like, you won't lose any weight until you're sleeping. And she was right. I had a very hard time losing weight. And then when Ellie started sleeping through the night 6 months ago, the next 10 pounds just kind of came right off. It was crazy. So most of my weight loss those first 2 years happened when I was sick, when my body was unhealthy. It just couldn't keep going anymore. And I would get pretty sick every probably 3 to 4 months because I was just so run down. And each time I'd lose a few pounds. And then after Ellie started sleeping through the night, things got easier. That's when I started being able to actually implement some of these changes once I was sleeping. So the first thing I did was I stopped eating at night again. And if I was hungry, if I was legitimately hungry, I would still eat something. Like I started doing protein, like almond butter and maybe carrots or apple slices. So something healthy, but if I needed food, I would eat it. But I really tried to not eat at night. And that's always made a huge difference for me when I'm losing weight. But again, I couldn't do that until I was sleeping more, because before that, when I was up all night, my body needed some extra calories at night. The second thing I did was starting doing weight training exercises, and I do this at night whenever I have enough energy. Again, it's what do I need to live my life well, not how can I push my body too much. So I use the Sweat app, and right now I'm doing Brittany Williams' weight training program. If I'm feeling up to it, I'll do it up to 5 nights a week. I love it. And James and I will turn on a show, and I'll get my hand weights and my stretch bands, weight resistance bands, and I will do the workout while I watch TV. And that also helps me have something else to do besides wanting to snack at night. But that weight training is what I can do right now well. Like high intensity, I used to do it, I can't do it. I don't have enough energy. I can't live my life well if I'm doing that. And also, new research seems to be showing that weight training is really where it's at. And for me, it's good. It's a workout that I enjoy, that I look forward to throughout the day. And whenever I have energy, I do it at night after the girls go to bed. And the final practical thing is I try to make healthy choices with what I eat. And honestly, I've pretty much done that for 20 years now. That's part of the intuitive eating, is getting to know like, oh, my body probably needs some more nutrients right now. Or, oh, listening like, oh, I'm craving this right now. What could that be telling me, So I try to practice that intuitive eating still. But again, I've practiced that since Ellie was born. And that doesn't lead to thin, it leads to healthy. So right now, I've been able to lose weight. I'm not breastfeeding anymore. I'm sleeping through the night now. I have more energy. My thyroid is starting to get back to normal. I'm still in hypo mode right now, but I'm almost back to normal, I think. And so now my body isn't telling me you need more calories to get through the day. Now, I feel like I'm fuller more quickly and my energy lasts longer. But I do try to make healthy choices still, just like I have been. So that's what's helped me. Comment below what has helped you on your own weight loss or weight gain or body acceptance journey. I love you guys, and I'll see you next week. Bye.